If you guys can come up, Melissa and Claudine, welcome, everyone.
Testing this. Perfect. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I may fall asleep halfway because I came in at 2 a.m. last night.
Yes, we're going to ask for everyone's grace a little bit this early morning. Really good.
How many of you guys love cereal here? Yeah? And how many of you guys love Pebbles? Okay, so please go out and buy a box or two later on your way home in service of sales. But we wanted to share with you a really important topic that Melissa and I have been discussing for quite a while now since you guys came on board, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
Which is, how do we, I think to Lisa's point, think about media and leveraging media to really fuel our creativity, right, across different touch points in a more holistic way. And we wanted to take you through our presentation where we want to be really thoughtful and deliberate around how to continue to bring our brands into the world and show up into the world, but in a way that still continues to drive meaningful connections. Because after all, we're talking to consumers, we're talking to shoppers, and we're talking to human beings, right? Oh, I was trying to figure out who was going to flip it for us. Thank you. Maybe. Oh, I mean, sorry. The arrow, of course. So this new connected world is really exciting. How many of you have heard about this new world of NFT? So many different brands trying to experiment with so many different things. Web3, the metaverse. In fact, I was just talking to Melissa in the hallway. I'm like, my CEO wants to see how we're thinking about leveraging NFTs, And I'm like, I don't know. But that being said, I mean, Melissa, how many briefs have you seen recently that wants to take, where folks want to take their brands into the metaverse?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of conversations. We talked about it yesterday during the Pepsi presentation as well, which was a great introduction around the importance of gaming and really starting to cross into this new space that is frankly still quite nascent. We have a long way to go. There's a lot of experimentation, and I think what we're trying to guide our clients, including the Post brands, is to be really authentic and intentional and really focus on sustainable strategies versus running in head first. That being said, you don't have to sit back and wait for 5 years to go by for everyone to get there. As an agency, we've started to create our own spaces and really help to think about brands and doing more of the deeper integrations while also finding that balance between what could be a first step. So something like a Post brands, or you think about Pebbles and the relationship with kids, it's really easy to think about what a Roblox world would look like. What's the next step within that? And staying really authentic to that more than anything else. But it's not going away. We do know that the majority of people do expect brands to be here, and finding that right space to be innovative and understand how people are changing their media consumption based on technology is driving a lot of this. So short answer is start with a lot of education, start with really being core to who your consumer is and where they're spending their time and what's important to them, and then really wrapping around the most valuable experience that you can create, which is a little bit about what we've been talking about for these brands too.
Yeah, so I think to Melissa's point, I love disruption. I love trying new things and being innovative and pushing my team to do the same. And I often love going rogue, even working with the media agencies. But I do think this whole space of NFTs and the metaverse, there's a lot of learning. So how we've been trying to approach it is in baby steps, right? Just making sure we're a little bit more deliberate around our approaches. But that being said, with so much conversation around the metaverse and NFTs, we also have the conversation around, well, is traditional media dead, right? I mean, you see some of these articles where they talk about RIP traditional media, right? Gone are the days, this is the days of the social and digital era. Well, I I like to kick it back old school every once in a while. And so I don't believe that traditional media is dead. We actually think about our iconic brands and how they came to be what they are. And it's all about shared experiences, shared ways of connecting people. And for that reason, I actually believe and will continue to believe that traditional media have a huge part to play in our media planning. And that's also a lot of what we've been talking about recently as we are going into our next year. Right?
It's the perfect segue to what this group's been talking about all week, and finding that balance between planning against TRP goals and historical benchmarks for your brands, and trying to find that new reach in new places and make sure that you're still able to deliver not only those brand building goals, but how does that transfer down into much more of a conversion metric, connecting more of the data to allow us to see how it's impacting the overall business. So what we've been trying to do together in the last few months is really just bring that fresh perspective of let's not throw everything away, but we need to continue to modernize, and we need to accelerate some of that modernization around these brands so that we're not missing the chance to get in front of the most important kidfluencers and parents that are really looking for these products and are looking for new and creative ways to engage with the brands.
Because here's the thing, right? If you think about technology and digital, right, you always ask yourself this question, where is the world more connected today or more disconnected? I sit at the table with my kids and I refuse to give them the phone, but when I look across the table, sometimes you have a family where they're having dinner and everyone's on their phone, right, connected to influencers, looking at new, fresh things over the phone, but not connecting with each other in real life. I think so that I do think while there's a strong element of how technology has evolved to connect the world, I also think that there's nothing than touching, feeling, right, talking face-to-face, and that interaction is really critical too. And I believe actually traditional media has a lot of opportunities to help us leverage technology and play in the space of human connection too. So our principle in terms of planning against our iconic brands is really two things, right? When we deliver our briefs and we think about human connection, human insight, we try to work on briefs that bridge the two areas of digital and traditional. One is, how do you leverage digital and the best of digital and technology to connect the world? And then, in a way, also let's not forget, how do we connect through experiences? I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to the New York Ice Cream Museum or the Slime Museum, right? It's so fun, and these places are so Instagrammable, where you can't help but pick up the phone to want to share with your friends these experiences, but you're also sharing these experiences in real life. And I recently took a trip to New York. I enjoyed it immensely with my kids. But that's really understanding and digging into the true human insight. And I believe we chatted about that too outside, where, Melissa, you share the same belief that connecting with digital, connecting with in real life with real experiences is a big part of how we drive human connection.
It's just a huge enabler. We at the agency do a study that really digs into how people are consuming media, but really supplements it with what are they the most passionate about, what media could they not live without, and we do custom surveys that have helped us really understand just how much this human connection matters to people, particularly coming out of COVID, and reprioritizing family experiences and shared experiences. We've had a lot of debate of like, how fast do we bring brands into gaming if they're not there yet? Again, yesterday's presentation was like a great kick in the ass to like hurry up and think about how do we catch up, because we're missing out on all these not only amazing experiences, but mass reach with a lot of really important audiences. But when we dig into it and we think about how, and more importantly, why people are spending time with their media, they're doing it to connect with their families. Half of women are gaming, and 30-some% are doing it to connect with their kids. Like, there's a lot of gaming moms out there that love it, and they're doing it to build those relationships. How many dads were learning how to play, I was going to combine the words, Roblox and Fortnite, to be able to connect with their kids? And so that we're seeing a lot of that, and that's a more important catalyst to us when we think about not just being somewhere to get a new impression or throw a billboard up, but is this something that's actually going to help us serve a greater purpose? Is this going to help us keep up with kids, but in a way that's really helping them think creatively and remember how they live in the world as well? Because their definitions are different than ours. They want their online brand and their virtual brand of identity to be as important or more than what it looks like in real life. And we recognize that, and we want to celebrate both.
Absolutely. And that being said, which is a great segue to purpose, I hope this is everybody's favorite cereal brand. If not, you have to kind of live with me talking about Pebbles for the next little while. But, we are all about inspiring kids and kids at heart, right, to express who they are and create the world that they want to live in. Pretty much saying that we're here to inspire creativity, right? Especially if you look through kids' lens, kids' eyes. I mean, their world is so much more colorful, so much more vibrant, and we could actually take a story or two from their playbook and learn and just kind of soak in their excitement of how they view the world. And so, as we think about Pebbles, our big philosophy in the way we approach creativity and the way we approach our media plans is we want to go beyond cereal, beyond the bowl, to be the kids' catalyst for creativity, right? If you think about Pebbles, it's the perfect product to do that, right? The colors, the vibrancy, you can take Pebbles because it's really rice grains and throw it into a recipe, as you pull together something with your kids. There's so much potential for that, and these are just some examples of leveraging technology and looking at Insta and Pinterest to see what the kids have been doing, right? They make musical instruments, they make a car racing track, a ton of opportunities for kids to just use our product and our package to really think through how they can use their imagination. So what we want to do is really, that's the intention of the brand. We want to so during COVID, what was really interesting is a lot of us were stuck at home, right? Our kids, our families, and we had to make do. I mean, I remember with my kids, we had to, we were at home and we drew a lot, we played a lot, but all within the confines of a really small apartment. So I mean, we always had to try to use our imagination inside. And now that people are starting to go out again, we're taking off our mask, we were thinking, for our brands, if we're all about fueling creativity and they've done all this awesome work at home, how do we take their work and their creativity and inspire the world? That was the intention of our thinking and our campaign actually for this year, because we wanted to share not only their creativity, but their optimism, right? That they could make do with anything and just continue to be creative. And we wanted to use the world as their stage or their museum. So we keep talking about how we leverage traditional and digital media, and this was a campaign that I give full credit to the team in terms of how they were thinking about the whole idea of turning imagination into creation and showcasing to the world, using the world as their museum, their stage, to show how awesome their work at home was. So we leveraged TV as a way to make sure there was broad awareness of what we were trying to do, and broad awareness in terms of driving recruitment so people could pretty much know to come to our website to really think about submitting what they've done when they were at home. We had a website naturally for folks to view other folks' creations as well as submit their own. And then we picked 4 key locations within the US as museums or platforms to really showcase the kids' creativity. So we picked Austin, LA, Brooklyn as some of the key areas to really showcase the work of the kids. Now, what's really interesting is this whole marrying technology, once again, with traditional media. We had traditional media to drive awareness. We leverage outdoor spaces, which is traditional media in a way because it's outdoor, to really showcase their work. But we use technology to connect their work to more people. So if you were there and you clicked on a QR code, you could really learn about the artists behind the art and the kids that kind of came up with, their artwork. So it was kind of a cool, immersive experience. And that being said as well, we leverage, I can never pronounce her name, but Ali F., she used to be a former bachelorette, is now married with kids, probably 10 seasons ago. So we leverage her as well as an influencer to really drive the news out there.
Inspiration like school closures, canceled play dates, and endless hours stuck in the house. Or so we thought. Turns out, when the world slowed down, kids kept on creating. In fact, their creativity actually spiked during lockdown. As the brand dedicated to fueling kid creators, we love to see it. And it made us wonder, how could Pebbles prove to the world that kids' creativity is unstoppable? Introducing the Pebbles Never Stop Doing project. To kick things off, we asked kids to share their creations with us. Then, we partnered with incredible muralists to display the kids' work in open-air galleries all over the country.
Wow, that one's pretty. Look at that painting.
And for those who couldn't make it out, we created a virtual gallery so people could experience the kids' art from anywhere in the world. The results? Thousands of impressions, a spike in sales in every city where the galleries were installed, with Pebbles continuing to be the #1 and the fastest growing kids cereal brand. All adding up to one incredible reminder from the next generation of creators to never stop doing.
So that video probably did a better job explaining it than I did. But I think to the point, that we talked about, if you go back a few slides ago and you looked at that empty billboard, right? We're taking outdoor media, and we're transforming it in new and creative ways, leveraging digital. And that's what we mean by shared connections, right? Where digital does have a part to play in how we think about the new tools that we can use in our media and our creatives. But at the same time, maybe there's new ways we can think about leveraging our traditional media to make it fresh and exciting as well. So that was really what this campaign was all about. And yeah, in the recent few months, I would say, not only are we the #1 cereal, but because we found this platform to be really working really well for us, we have the highest share ever in like the last 3 years, So I think the team has done such amazing work to bring the brand to life in such unique ways, leveraging the best of both worlds.
So just simply said, I think some of our biggest reminders that we think about every day is to really try to leverage technology and acknowledge that it's totally redefining how we connect with each other and with brands, and go along with it and learn from it and continue to push, and particularly to look at some of the overlapping trends that take place between our audiences. This human connection really powers those experiences that we're trying to talk about. How you feel is going to have tremendous impact on whether or not you're going to buy that brand again, or you're going to take the extra effort to post or retweet something or share with your friends. The kids are showing each other everything that they film, and they're sending it around, and they're sitting together in a room sharing with each other. So that's a huge part of how we're thinking about continuing to evolve our media and continuing to modernize these experiences, just to recognize that very blurred line between real life and technology. They don't see the difference. They don't see the barriers. And so we have to go along with that. And then when we can adopt that, as you saw in this case study, these modern experiences are what's allowing them to unleash creativity. They want some sort of fulfillment or value to come back. And we're feeling the same way. We might want a promotion. We might want some sort of reward. The kids just want to have something fun to share. They want to feel like their time is valuable. And so we're trying to think about how all of this convergence of traditional and technology is helping us get in front of enough of the right people that we are creating really fun, creative experiences for them. So that's our story.
That was quick. That was awesome. Anyone have questions?
I got it, Lisa.
Oh. That was great.
Just let us know who you are and where you're from.
Hey, good morning. Great presentation, by the way. I'm Brad. I'm from Fire Department Coffee. And when you were talking about the kids creating the artwork, which is really awesome. I love seeing like using the box as crafts, and then even just the cereal itself, and then also putting on that mural. Was there, and earlier you were talking about the NFTs, was there any kind of follow-up with helping kids create an NFT out of their own artwork?
We tell you, we'll have to kill you. Let's just say it's not out of the question. We've talked about it. You know, we've talked about which brand should we leverage in the NFT space as a test and learn. Because truth be told, we have a lot of great iconic brands, right? Pebbles is one. I think that's an amazing idea. We also have other brands within our portfolio like Sugar Crisp and things like that, where there's really iconic characters, right, that you can take into the NFT space as well. So we've definitely had conversations around how do we leverage it in a way, but leverage it NFT in a way that's new and fresh too, because I think everybody and the mother has some kind of NFT out in the world, right? So we want to make sure if we do come in, we want to come in with a test and learn mindset, and we want to make sure we do something that's different, unique, and not a flash in the pan, but a little bit more sustainable too. So that's kind of how we're thinking about our plans going into next year, leveraging the meta, you know, going into the meta, leveraging NFTs, for sure.
Anyone else?
Hi, Leah from Keynote. We talk a lot about connecting to people and connecting to the kids. How do you envision tracking and following this lifetime user? So these kids who are growing up on Fruity Pebbles and then staying with the iconic Post brands and then going from Fruity Pebbles to Honey Bunches of Oats to Grape Nuts to them buying Fruity Pebbles for their kids. How do you envision tracking the lifetime user from when these cereal eaters are just at a young age?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I would say we're not in a place where we're down to an individual level to really understand at a household level who's moving from one to the next, but we are able to see overall growth from a share and a volume standpoint. We can understand like who we're bringing in as an audience to engage with these campaigns, which is also kind of a gut check against who our actual audiences are. And Post has done a tremendous amount of work to really understand where that growth opportunity is. And so it gets us to a place where we can see if and when there's overlap within a household across brands. And then also, I don't know about you guys, but you walk into a family's household and you see a lot of brands you might not expect. Like I've actually seen kids eating Grape Nuts and I see a lot of grown-ups eating Pebbles. So there's also just a love for brands and making sure that they understand kind of where it comes from and they have an easy access point.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank
That
you,
was
thank
awesome,
you.
Claudine and Melissa.